Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Sarthak Show, where we discuss about tech, career, product and life. And in this special video series, we have podcast with Meghna. She is working as a business technology analyst at Deloitte. And today in this part one specifically, we will uncover her life story, what different interview rounds, how did she apply to Deloitte, what were kind of questions that were asked in interview, what are the different things that she learned during the way, what are the different projects that she worked on, and so forth into her journey. So stay tuned till the end of this video to know more about it. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon near that so that you get a notification every time I put a new video. And without further ado, let's start with the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very special podcast and we have Meghna with us. She's working as a business technology analyst at Deloitte. And a couple of you folks were wondering and asking me in the comments and DMs that how was the process and how you can go into Deloitte, what kind of work that can be expected. So today we will demystify all of these questions and learn from Meghna how has been her experience, whatever she has done to crack this amazing opportunity, and what kind of work that she is doing currently at Deloitte. So thank you so much, Meghna, for joining in for this podcast and taking out this time for our audience. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarthak. Hey guys, so Meghna here. I'm working as a business technology analyst at Deloitte. And I have a total of 2 years of experience, including my internship. So I've done a variety of internships I'll be discussing ahead. And at Deloitte, it's been 1 year and a great journey working at the Big Four.
To deep dive into the first part of it, I think that the question is everybody's mind, how to apply at Deloitte? What is the best way? Is it via the referrals or best ways to get the on-campus opportunity? Any other hacks that you can apply for off-campus?
So first I'll say, how did I apply? It was a college campus placement. So I guess that's the easiest way to go about it. And there's lateral hires too. So college placements, the typical way you can just apply via college. But if you are applying laterally, I would highly recommend referrals because as you heard, Deloitte has a very less intake percentage is 0.03%, which is less than Harvard, and they brag about it. So it's true. They get a lot of applications. So if you have more than one referral, then you get to the screening round. I've barely met anyone who's gotten in without a referral. So referral is the way to go according to me at Deloitte. But if you're applying through college, then you will have to go through an exam and 3 to 4 rounds of interviews. And if I had to tell how hard the interview is, I would say between medium to high. Not that easy. It's not going to be easy because it's consulting. And I want to clearly mention that it's going to be different if you're in a consulting background and finance background. So I'm from a consulting tech background. So whatever I talk over here is going to be mainly on the consulting tech.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And audience, I hope you heard it, that if you're applying for off-campus opportunity, referrals is one way to go. So start connecting as much as Deloitte people that you can. But yeah, let's address the elephant in this room and ask the main question. So how was the interview experience all like? What kind of rounds were there? What kind of questions were asked? And people are curious about it, and they desperately want to know how to prepare for. So what was your interview experience?
Actually, we had 4 rounds of screening. The first round was an exam. So that was the toughest part for me. I'm not an aptitude person. So I had an aptitude round. So in aptitude round, you'll have the same, like how you'd have logical reasoning and English, computer. So the main part would be computer. You'll have like 10 questions of, MCQ type and one coding question. Coding question is going to be simple, guys. It's not going to be that hard if you're from college. And the 10 computer questions going to be medium to high. You have binary conversion questions and disks, different type of disks, and those kind of, it won't be just like you can't refer one book. They're really going to test how much of knowledge you have in the real world. Aptitude questions would contain the same like logical reasoning, quantitative, the train wala questions, and you have the bus, boat, those kind of questions, then LCM, HCF, percentage, those kind of questions. Those are also those would be like medium, but the computer one would be a little hard because that's the field you're going to get into. Then we have the second round of exam, which is completely going to be English based. Deloitte has their main focus on English, so you have to be really good at your English, the language. So you can have multiple languages. That's a very good advantage at Deloitte because it's consulting and you work with different clients. So if you know an extra language, it's a plus point. But you cannot show that in the exam, of course. So English, you'll have passage. It's going to be basic English. but the competition is going to be really high. So even if with 0.5 marks, you might actually lose a part because everyone's going to be really good at English, right? So there's English round. So that's how the exam goes. Then once you get selected from the exam, then you have 2 rounds of interviews. One would be technical and second would be HR. So in technical round, what happens is they ask you a business case scenario. Okay. So as a business technology analyst, you are supposed to be a problem solver. So they'll give you a business case scenario. For example, if a person has a shop and if they had to get into an e-commerce platform, how would you go about it? And those kind of questions. So like a couple of my friends had gotten the same questions, and the best resource I really highly recommend for you guys is the Deloitte page. They have their own resources, they have their own mock exams. And if you really prepare from that, I really truly believe that helped me, because 2 days before my Deloitte interview, I just opened the website when I got to know that they have resources, and trust me, most of the questions were right around that. So that's more than enough, I would say. But if you're a person who wants to be extra prepared, refer to PM interviews on YouTube. You get a lot of case studies and how to go about it. And that's the resource. And one big tip which I want to give during this round of interview, because this is the game changer and most of the people get selected or rejected in this round, that would be walk through your thought process, guys. Don't just give them the final answer. That's not what they want to hear. They want to hear how did you arrive at that. Okay, you have a problem statement. You don't just tell, okay, this is the solution. Give the interviewer the opportunity to understand how you reached there, what are the options you considered, and how you got there. Okay, even if your answer is not the most practical, implementable one, that's what they want to hear. Okay, my answer was not the best one, I would say. Obviously, after I got off the interview, I thought 100 possible solutions. Right. But what impressed the interviewer the most was I came up with problem statements. What are the possible solutions? And ask questions. Ask questions. I cannot write that enough. People don't ask questions and they just assume something and go ahead, and that's not going to work, because that's not what the interviewer expected from you. So those two things, go through PM interviews online and go through just help the interviewer understand where you're coming from and why you're going there. Even if the solution is not that great, they're understanding your thought process over there. So that was the second round. Third round would be HR round, behavioral question. They need people who are proactive, extremely proactive. So try to do a lot of internships. If you're in second and first year of college, do a lot of internships. Be the most proactive one in your batch. And in college placement, I think that's the best thing. One advantage you hold is you just have to be the best among your peers. You don't have to be the best in the world, but you have to just be the best among your peers. So just do whatever extra you can than them. Okay, it's a competition and treat it like a competition. Help your friends, but always try to be one step ahead, because that's all that matters. And another thing I would really tell is coding. And the second thing would be your marks. Everyone's so bothered. Big Four will only accept if I have 9 CGPA. No, I have friends who've had 6, 4, 5 CGPA and still gotten into the consulting world, and they're doing great. And I've had people with 9 CGPA who've not gotten into consulting world. It's because you cannot be a bookworm. Deloitte will not appreciate that. They need you to be proactive and a problem solver. Even if you don't know something and you're trying to answer that, that's really very truly appreciated over here. So that's one thing. And you do not need to know coding. I guess we could take that up ahead from here, but that's the last round. And you'll have behavioral questions, just the normal question, your strength, your weakness. They'll give you a situation. What would you do at that situation? How would you prioritize? And questions like that. So that's about the interview. It was good. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, I think phenomenal experience over there, and a lot of myths were busted around the 9 CGPA and the coding requirements for the interview. So yeah, I think you have heard the folks that something like that you have been hearing in the world, that you need coding to crack all those interviews, or you need 9 CGPA, is not at all required. But yeah, that is the main thing that has been highlighted, that you have to be very proactive. And since you're going into the consulting space, that it's required that you understand what kind of business cases can come around and how do you solve them. And if I remember correctly, you have those step marking in your middle school, right? So that is something that has been highlighted over here, that whatever you are going to do, just don't arrive at the solution right away. Try to do and show steps to the interviewer and highlight and ask questions in between whatever you are asking, and then arrive at a solution, which might not be the best solution then, but this is the way that they are expecting, at least. Do you know that how is the interview process different for off-campus hirings, or is it going to be similar case? And what are, if there are any other myths that you want to bust around it? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I do have a couple of friends, and I did ask them how was their experience. So
Mm-hmm.
off campus, from whoever I know, everyone's gotten through a referral. So once you've gotten through a referral, you'll be the first round would be a resume screening round. They would ask you everything in and out from the resume. So please do
Mm-hmm.
not mention any point which is not actually true in your resume. Even in
Mm-hmm.
my case, I had that like 5 minutes of discussion was not long, but for lateral hires, from what I heard, they had one entire round just about their projects, just to
Mm-hmm.
know where you're coming from, even before the technical round, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
the exam round, which is the same as college campus hires, but then there's one resume round, which they call it as initial screening. So just write proper things in your resume and have a proper explanation for everything you've written. And so just don't put in points and just send your resume in a bulk way to all the companies. Then after that, the same way we have technical round, same business case scenario questions, but here the medium would be a little more higher than college placement. From what I've heard, the questions are a little more technical and maybe around coding more than
Mm-hmm.
college students. But if you are a person who is really not into coding, please do mention it to the interviewer and have something else as a strong point. Have a
Mm-hmm.
couple of internships. Like I had 4 internships in my hand just before my interview, and I had done a lot of them around the product management space. So there you do not require coding. So I mentioned it clearly to the interviewer. And the
Mm-hmm.
interviewer at Deloitte, everyone respects where you come from. They do not expect you to know everything. But
Right.
if you tell you don't know coding, make sure you know something else that will overpower or that will equalize the coding. You can't tell I
Mm-hmm.
don't know coding and I'm just going to be a normal person. No, that's not acceptable. So
Right.
have something, have your own specialty. It's okay to stand apart from the crowd. Like from my set of from my interview people, like all my friends, I was the only one who was really bad at coding. I was not confident in my coding. I was really good at logical things and business part of things. So I made it really clear to the interviewer, and I got questions only around those.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to give I would like to give a tip here, even for both off campus, on campus students, is that when I got a question and I didn't know I was into coding, even before the interviewer had a chance to ask me coding, I wireframed my solution. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
down the solution and I made a lot of business points that they did not have the time to ask me coding questions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
use such tips and tricks and show them that I'm good here, even if I'm not good in the other part, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's very essential for off-campus students, because your competition is going to be very high, and they do not have to necessarily hire a certain number of people from that gang, right?
Right.
There are times where they don't hire at all from the entire set of people. Then same for the off-campus students would experience hires would be the HR round. HR round would be
Mm-hmm.
behavioral. You have negotiation a chance, which college campus students don't. So do
Mm-hmm.
not negotiate a lot. Deloitte does not like that. They normally offer a very good salary package. But if you negotiate a lot, from what I've heard, a lot of my friends have actually not gotten even after they get after getting through all the rounds, because you get, according to Deloitte, you are very easily replaceable. There are a lot of people who are ready to settle for a lesser salary because it's consulting and your growth is extremely high over here. You grow really
Mm-hmm.
fast and amazing benefits, more than the salary. Sometimes your benefits are higher. So do
Right.
not worry about the salary package, just what comes in the CTC. There's a lot of benefits apart from the CTC which you're going to
Mm-hmm.
benefit from. And having the Big Four name in your resume itself is such a huge value. So that's one thing for the off-campus, whoever's trying to apply and watching this video. So that's one thing you guys have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Do negotiate. I wouldn't say don't, but don't go too high. Don't think that it's a Big Four. They're going to just pay you just like that. So always stay in the limits, understand and show why if you're negotiating, let's say for the highest package, then always make sure to tell why. Like, this is what I bring to the table. So that's why I'm asking this much.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Deloitte has that thing. They will not give you the package. And I've had so many friends losing their packages just because of that. So just be careful on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It's pretty much the same, except that one extra round of interview around your resume.
Okay, and thank you so much for highlighting that. So a little bit of different interview, but main thing that has been highlighted, and it is not restricted towards the off-campus interviews. I would also suggest that you should be very, very honest on your resume, whatever things you are putting in. When did you decide to move into this consulting space, or what was that one thing that made you realize that consulting is the right way for me?
Yeah. So while I was in my college, like I mentioned that I'd be discussing about my internship. I guess this is the right place for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in my college, around my first year, second year, mid, I decided to start working because I just turned 18. So I'm like, okay, this is the time to start getting into the corporate world, right? So I started out with being a customer executive and intern at a company called Better Half. It is a
Mm-hmm.
dating site. Then I moved to software testing. So I've tried everything, right, from customer success, sales calls, to software testing, to getting to product. That's where I love product, because I like being able to decide how the product actually works. So that's when I decided I wanted to get into product, and I realized coding was not my cup of tea. Even though I know to code, I don't see myself doing it all day long. So I felt after that, I did a couple of internships again in two other companies, one US based company and one over here, which is again as a product manager, associate product manager. I did a lot of internships. That was my thing. And I think everyone should try, because you actually understand, figure out what the real world is like once you start doing internships. It's not what you read in books, it's actually what you do. That's what matters, right? So you'll get a really good understanding. So I would suggest everyone to take up a lot of internships as much as you can to understand in different fields, because you don't have to just stick to one. Try different, and then you'll figure out something which you really love. At least as second year students, I know everyone's just figuring out what they want to do in life, and books is not going to help you. Take up a lot of internships, try everything for how many months you can, and then you'll figure out. So that's how I figured out product was my thing. And I am coming from a cybersecurity and cloud technology background. That was a specialization I took, so pretty technical. So I knew I had nothing to expect from my college placements, because it's going to be all technical. Then Deloitte came in. Honestly, I didn't know a lot about consulting world at that time. When Deloitte came in, they came in with a role business technology analyst. And I assumed that business technology analyst means someone who stays between business and technology and who's an analyst. So, and it was consulting world. That's when I Googled for the first time what consulting world is, what do they do? That's how I fell in love with it, because I realized that I don't have to be in the technical technical side all the time, but I could still leverage my technical skills and help the business world, right? That was perfect for me. That's when I realized, that was the point I realized that consulting was the place for me. And with all the efforts I put in, I did get into consulting. So if you are a person who does not want to only stay on the consulting, on the technical side, and want to come to the business side, but still have the technical values and skills used, consulting is the thing for you guys. But if you really want to stick only to consulting, only to technical, then consulting is not a place, because you have when you grow up the ladder, that means you're growing away from the technical. But you should still know technical things, but you don't get to apply it. The juniors get to apply it. So that's one thing you guys should keep in mind when you're applying for consulting, because you cannot just be hardcore developers, hardcore QAs, because you need to grow up the ladder and become business people. So that's how I realized consulting was my thing.
Yeah, I think very beautifully explained what meant to be part of a consulting space. And so, yeah, thank you so much for highlighting that. So folks, with this, we come to the end of part 1 of this video. I hope आपको